Hi everybody, I'm Robbie Billups. You're late again.
I'm sorry, man. I was late. I was working on some forensic stuff.
Why are you always so late, dude? Like, you're young, you got the speed and the time, but like you're always late. I don't feel any commitment coming from you.
Are you trying to say you're more organized than me? More experienced?
I am more experienced than you are.
Well, I have skin, and I'm young, and you're old, and I'm better than you, and I'm faster than you.
We'll see. Hey everybody, thanks for coming back for this week's episode of Flashback. We're going to be talking about the crossover episode with Arrow, Flash versus Arrow, and the Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, I thought it was legit. The Flash episode, Flash versus Arrow, was good. I like the use of the villain in it. I hope to see more of him. What did you think?
I liked it a lot. I thought the Flash episode was straight up just funny and fun. I mean, like, it started and it didn't stop.
Yeah.
Like, from the very opening scene when Barry's going through the thing and he gets saved by Arrow.
Yeah.
And Arrow, I love how when Ollie shows up, his music shows up.
Yes,
and then vice versa in the Arrow episode, when Flash shows up, his music comes up. The music in both shows is really cool. So I really liked them using that. Overall, I really liked the episode. I thought it was super fun. The whole banter and interaction with Felicity and Diggle. Mm-hmm. You know, Diggle's just utter shock and amazement at what Barry can do. And he's just tripping on it the whole episode. He's like...
Diggle is hilarious, man.
He is, dude, and it's great. I mean, he was kind of underutilized in the Flash episode, but it was really, really funny how he was like, does he do everything fast? Like, does he go to the bathroom right after he eats? I loved it. And I love the tension between Ollie and Barry. It's very much a Superman-Batman type thing. And they get more into that into the Arrow episode. Mm-hmm. But I loved how Ollie was trying to show him that you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
You can't even case a joint. You have plenty of time and speed to do it, but you don't. And I love how he proves that point to him with 2 arrows in the back. Probably the best moment in the entire show. What'd you think about the villain, Rainbow Raider?
Rainbow Raider, what was his name? Bilbo?
It was Roy G. Bigelow. That's a little on the nose, I believe. He was played by Paul Anthony, and Rainbow Raider first appeared in 1980 in The Flash 286. And so go get the comic and read it if you really are interested. But he had the goggles in the comic book, and he's able to flash different colors and affect people's mood. One thing I didn't like about Rainbow Raider or Chroma in this episode was that they only used red. They only used rage. Yeah. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. I'm hoping since he's locked up, you know, eventually they'll all get out and he'll tap into those other spectrums, because I love the whole idea of Spectrum because, you know, Jeff Johns has a big hand in this, and I'm going to always go back to this because Green Lantern is my favorite. Potentially, maybe we will see a Green Lantern because of these Spectrum colors. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
That is true. You know, red equals rage in the Green Lantern books and obviously also in Rainbow Raider. One thing that doesn't make sense because Caitlin names him Rainbow Raider, and they even say, her and Felicity talk about how his powers work, and they even say he can use the different colors.
Yeah, they just focused on the rage.
And it's just red rage, so like, why would he be called the Rainbow Raider if it's only red? But it looked cool. I thought the effect was cool. The bank robbery scene was awesome. The big final scene when Barry gets filled with the rage. Now that was cool. It was really cool to see him bust out on a lot of the stuff he had been holding in on Eddie, on Iris, and even Captain Singh. Like, I loved it.
Yeah, it was cool to see because for him, who was exposed to it, it took a little longer for it to kick in. So it was cool to see in the same way that he holds stuff in, that it took longer for all that stuff to come out.
Absolutely.
So I liked it. It was cool use of that power, and it was cool seeing Barry like that, all full of rage, and he's typically not like that, and going up against Arrow. What'd you think about that?
Now, Arrow versus Flash, that was an awesome fight.
That was a good fight scene.
I thought it went exactly how it should. I mean, never underestimate a guy who just has a bow and arrow. Like, people do that all the time with Hawkeye or Green Arrow. They don't do it to Batman because Batman's proven that he can take out Superman. But yeah, Arrow probably could take out a Flash, especially a Flash very early in his career.
Yeah. Ollie's more established, more experienced, and you see that in the fight scenes. But it was also cool seeing Flash, you know,
Oh, dude.
Quick jab, punch him.
He was
right
about
in the
to
ribs.
take him out, man. Like, I almost got worried for Ollie there.
He was about to kill Eddie, it looked like, didn't you think?
Yo, yeah, the whole thing with Eddie. You know, Eddie's trying to get this task force going. And now he's also jealous because he finds out that Iris and Flash have been having rooftop meetings. And I loved that scene where I really thought, I was like, oh my goodness, is he going to kill Eddie?
Yeah.
And of course he's not, because Eddie's got to move on and become the Reverse Flash, possibly.
Who knows?
Who knows?
We now know that Iris does not trust the Flash anymore. She said, Flash, stay away from me. So they're probably going to touch on that more.
I think it sets up, because when Reverse Flash shows up next week, he might be doing a string of crimes, and they might think that it's the Flash now. Because now the city and the police and Iris are kind of aligned against Barry. So I think that's pretty interesting.
So at the end of this episode, Flash versus Arrow, we get a really big Easter egg. We've been waiting on it.
Are you talking about the baby, or are you talking about the Burning Man?
Which baby?
Ollie's baby.
Oh, wow, there's two.
That's
yes,
right.
There's two. So the baby, the woman that walks into Jitters, was also in an Arrow episode. Ollie basically got a girl knocked up. His mom paid her off to say, stay away from my son, and you can have a life, you can have this money, and just don't tell my son about the baby. And she did. So we now know that Ollie has a son out there.
Yeah. And they're bringing this up on purpose. It's not like it's just a story point.
No.
They brought her back.
Yeah.
And they did it on Flash, which was kind of odd, but obviously it's because she even said, I think, that she was moving to Central City. I just hope that if it ever comes back again, she says the baby's name is Connor. Because anybody who was a fan of the comic books in the 1990s understands that Connor Hawke was the illegitimate son of Ollie and became Green Arrow for a time when Ollie was presumed dead.
And he was a beast, too.
He was. But then, the Burning Man that has been referred to in previous episodes is revealed.
Firestorm, baby.
Firestorm.
It's also Stephen Amell's cousin, Robbie Amell. He played in the Tomorrow People, which got canceled on CW. It was actually kind of cool, but then kind of ended slowly. But he goes full on flame in this. Very much like Human Torch.
Yeah, my buddy Drew actually commented online. He said, how come in 3 seconds on The Flash, a TV show, they can give us a better looking human on fire than 2 Fantastic Four movies? Because we're not counting the Roger Corman one.
No, we're not.
All right. So skip ahead.
Yeah.
The Arrow episode. Now, we don't really talk about Arrow, but this was a Flash crossover. And, of course, we thought it was going to be a more direct crossover, like a direct continuation. But it wasn't. So let's talk about the Arrow. Yeah, 2 different stories, so they work on their own or together. Number 1, Captain Boomerang.
Captain Boomerang delivers.
Captain Boomerang.
Yeah,
who would think that Captain Boomerang would have been cool?
But his boomerangs are legit, man.
He is. Captain Boomerang, of course, is Digger Harkness. He was created in 1960 in The Flash 117. And he was played by Nick Terabay in this episode, who did a fantastic job. Of course, they mentioned that he was part of Task Force X, the Suicide Squad. He's after Lila, right? Diggle Squeeze.
Who's also an agent of Argus.
Yeah, and we don't talk a lot about Arrow, but Diggle is the best part of Arrow, probably, like, to be honest. And I love that whole story that he had this episode with Lila, and just the whole, she's not my wife, and then the ending and proposing, and I thought she was gone, dude. I really did. Yeah, I really did. Arrow's got a problem with killing off their women characters. I don't know. But Captain Boomerang was super cool. Now, it looked a little, the boomerangs, because obviously he actually has the coat with the boomerangs, and if you care that he's not wearing the toboggan, come on, really? I like how they didn't explain why he uses boomerangs. There's like, he's a weapons expert, and he uses boomerangs. Now, there were a few one-liners in there, you know, like, oh, like a boomerang, the past comes back to haunt you.
Right.
And stuff like that. Now, that kind of stuff is cheesy, but obviously we're going to get that. I just thought it was awesome that they didn't go out of the way to be like he was a kid that went to Australia and a pack of rabid boomerangs killed his parents or something. So now he takes the boomerang and... So he uses the boomerang because they're cool, and he does in the comics. And I just thought it looked amazing. It didn't come across as cheesy. He was threatening.
Oh, yeah.
Captain Boomerang was awesome. I'm sorry.
You know, at one point, Diggle calls Oliver and is like, hey, you got to get down here. This guy's legit. Like, take him seriously because he's killing agents left and right. And what I thought was cool about it was that this forced Barry and Oliver to team up again, and Oliver really doesn't want to team up with them, but Flash is like, no, I've been practicing, I've been training, I've been doing what you've taught me, and it was cool to see them team up again.
It was, absolutely. I like how in the Flash episode the focus is on the inexperience of Barry. And I liked how in the Arrow episode the focus was on the differences between those two characters. Like I said, it's the light, it's the dark. It's the things, like, it's not just Ollie and Barry that are different. It's Central City and Starling City. Yeah. It's just the villains.
Very dark, very Gothamish. It's that dark tone. Central City, they have more villains with powers. It's easier to almost face them. I think Caitlin and
Cisco even talked about that. Yeah.
It's easier to face them because we know what we're going up against. It's not they're just out to kill everyone. They have a motive. Villains in Starling City, they just want to blow stuff up and kill people.
Yeah. It's a lot darker show. It's a lot more dark, and I like how they comment on that through the characters. I thought the characters worked really well together. You know, one thing I forgot to mention about the Flash episode is Harrison.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't get through a flashback without us talking about Harrison. And I like how Ollie's like, there's something wrong with that guy. There's something off with that guy. My new theory on Harrison is that he's Wally West, the future Kid Flash, and Barry dies, saving the world in the crisis, and he wants to save Barry, so he needs to go back in time. He went a little far or something, and he's grown up a little bit, and now he's trying to make Barry a better Flash so that he can survive the crisis.
It's kind of cool.
It's a new theory. There's a new theory every single day about this guy. I thought it was a little weird how Harrison's like, I don't trust the Arrow. I don't like his methods, even though they're the exact same methods that Harrison himself used. And obviously he's trying to hide those things. But this is the guy that sent two villains to their death trying to kill other people, and of course shanked the general guy. Just straight up. So it is what it is. Not the general, but Stag.
Yeah, general,
not the general, but Stag. All old white dudes to me and are generals in TV, to be honest.
I'm interested to see. You know, we saw the trailer from for next week's episode.
Reverse Flash.
Reverse Flash.
In the flesh.
In the flesh.
In the skin, if you will.
In the skin. I'm excited to see it, man. I don't know who it is. I legitimately have had millions of theories, and I have no clue who it is. So I'm excited to see who it is.
Yeah, I am too. What about the part in the Flash episode where he gets hit with the tranquilizer and just burns it out of him?
Oh, that was dope.
That was so cool. Barry was really scary when he was raged out.
And they now have, they put Captain Boomerang on the same island as Slade Wilson, who is Deathstroke. So we all know they're going to break out. So that's going to be interesting. And we also know that Captain Boomerang eventually, does he come into the Rogues? Or is he just Suicide Squad?
He is a part of the Rogues, but he's not like...
He's not one of like the main...
He's not one of the main ones. He's kind of off and on.
Right.
Like usually he is a Flash villain, and he's one of the Flash's Rogues, but he doesn't seem to get along with Cold and Heatwave and Mirror Master.
Okay, yeah, because I've read him in Suicide Squad. I couldn't remember if he was in...
Yeah, he was in the Suicide Squad in the 80s. He's in the... I think, is he in the Suicide Squad now?
Yeah, I think so.
He's going to be in the upcoming Suicide Squad movie.
Yes.
So that's pretty interesting. So overall, the Flash Arrow crossover lived up to its hype, exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, it was great for me. I enjoyed it. I give it 2 thumbs up. It had the humor, it had the fight scenes, it had the villains. It was dope.
Drama.
Man. It was really dope. I really enjoyed it.
Love, loss, tragedy. It was great.
It was great.
But what we're really looking forward to is next week. We've been waiting all season for this.
Oh yeah.
The fall finale, Reverse Flash. And we will be here next week talking about the Reverse Flash a whole lot more. Will they reveal the identity?
Will they?
Probably not.
Maybe.
But it's going to be a thrilling episode nonetheless. So until next week, I am Robbie Billups.
I'm Jonathan Strickland.
And we'll flash back then. You are just a little inexperienced. Don't repeat
faster
me.
Than you.
Don't.
Feel like the Flash, better yet I'm Barry Allen. Can't rewind time without messing up the balance. Told my girl I don't think I really got the talent. She said go chase your dreams and see what God allows to happen. Past tense to rapping Randy Savage. Do you know how many years